Skyscapes and Domestics, which I love the title, and Rick is the one who, when I asked him for a theme, he's the one who decided for the theme of the show, which I really like. And so I appreciate y'all coming. And I'm looking forward to, this show will go through June the 4th. And I just want to say a short thank you to Pam and Rick and for everyone here. And then I have some wonderful people, my family and Jim McInnes and Mike Bilal. There's wonderful food and there is champagne and red wine and everything. So I'll let you get started.
Okay.
I'll leave it to you. He's the writer.
Pam bowed out. She said she wasn't going to do it in California. So I have to do her talk and then do mine. But I think a kind of an in joke among artists is our artist statements. And, and most of us consider them, many of them, rather pretentious and obtruse. And so I'm not going to go there at all. In fact, I'm going to simplify it and do a show and tell and walk you through the process that Pam uses and for her work, and then I'll walk you through the process that I use for my work. And it's pretty simple. Pam, we live in a little house of 1920s bungalow with 18 windows. And so the light from morning to afternoon changes dramatically. And Pam and I will be sitting there talking about something, morning coffee or later in that, and she'll jump up and say, just a minute, she'll run over, and she'll get this out and take a picture. And in fact, she may take a dozen or more pictures. She's seen something that fascinates her, and it's something that's very domestic. This is a house plant in our house. That's a leaf that she found outside. I mean, it's just stuff that she sees. But she's fascinated by it, and she takes multiple photographs until she comes up with a composition that she likes. And when she does, she prints it out, and she winds up with something like this. And this is the genesis of this. So she decided she was going to do a 4x4, so she drops it down, 4x4, and then she does a grid on it, and then she did a grid on this, and scales it up, and then paints it. And her painting technique is very traditional. She takes forever, very careful. I was telling someone earlier that we have this bedspread that has sort of a pseudo Native American design on it, and if I don't get it lined up perfectly on the bed, it drives Pam nuts. So she's very meticulous, but the thing that she adds to the work, aside from this sort of hyper-realism, is the light. And you don't see that so much. You do to a degree in this, but that's the thing that she adds to the work, which really kind of pulls it out. Very traditional, as I said. My stuff all starts in my head. I get an image in my head that I see. In fact, I'll even put up a blank canvas and kind of stare at it for a day or two. We're fortunate, we each have studios, so that's nice. So I go to my studio and stare at a blank canvas and nobody can say anything. But I don't start painting until I have an image of what I want to paint in my mind. And my stuff is mostly memory. Things I've seen here in the hill country, where I grew up in western Oklahoma, which is as flat as this table. And the only thing to look at are the sunsets and sunrises, and they are spectacular. And New Mexico, where I spent some time. And there the light is just incredible. And so I will come up with an image in my mind, and I'll start painting. And sometimes I make it all the way to the end with that image, and sometimes that's not what happens. And the painting starts talking back to me and changes, and you have to go with what's in front of you, not, that's what counts, because that's what you're going to see, not what's up here. When I work very differently. I work very quickly, And I put a heavy coat, I put a coat of gesso on the canvas, and then I put a very thick, once it dries, then I put a very thick coat of gesso, and while it's still wet, I start painting. And I paint the color, sometimes just directly out of the tube onto the canvas, sometimes I mix the colors before I put them on. But I work the colors in with the wet gesso and with one another. And so, and to do that, to get big, thick layers of gesso, I use this. And sometimes I use the color. I use this for the colors as well. But I also use a sponge, and this is microfiber, and I find that only microfiber works the way I want it to, but a microfiber cloth, and you can do all sorts of wonderful things with these. You can use a finger, you can want all kinds of stuff. And so the other thing that I do, which is a little different, Pam paints very traditionally. She'll paint dark to light, which if you're using opaque color, that's kind of the traditional way you go about it. I do the opposite. I go light to dark, and I use translucent, transparent colors, so I'm glazing. And that's what gives the sunsets and all that kind of brilliance. If you go dark to light, you're what we call scumbling. And you get this nice muted quality up here. But like that orange back there, that's white, yellow, orange, and that's what gives it the punch. So one thing I do, which is kind of, once I finish a painting, a sunset, to make sure that I haven't created something that wouldn't exist in nature, I go online and look at, there are hundreds of sunsets, photographs. And I go online and I look at the photographs until I find one that's like my painting. And then I know I'm okay. I don't look at the photograph and then paint. I paint, finish the painting, and then look for the photograph. But so far I haven't come up with, even that big orange back there, I thought that's totally preposterous. That's, the one back there on the corner. That couldn't exist. I found one. The entire sky, bright orange. Anyway, thank you so much for coming. And have fun, have some champagne, and enjoy yourself.